Sony A6400 camera review. Sony's 24.2 megapixel A6400 APS-C camera was a surprise, filling a gap between the A6300 and A6500 that didn't really need to be filled. Both in how it looks and the technology inside, it didn't seem like a great leap over the A6300. It also lacks important features found in the A6500. However, with 4K video, a pop-up screen, a microphone jack, and reasonable $900 price tag, I thought it might make a great poor man's vlogging camera. Elsewhere, the A6400 packs a lot of incredible technology, especially in the area of autofocus, which makes it a significantly better camera than its predecessor. To find out how it stacks up against its close competitor, the Fujifilm X-T30, let's take a closer look. Not many surprises here. The A6400 is a nigh-on identical body to 2016's A6300. The top, button layout, mount, battery, and everything else is nearly the same as before. It has a magnesium body that's sealed against dust and moisture as before, but Sony said it has been mildly upgraded. The only difference I can see, however, is a slightly larger grip. I've never been a fan of the button layout on Sony's A6 series. Rather than giving you lots of physical controls, you get just an adjustment dial on the top and a rear multi-function thumb wheel. Sony forces you to use the latter for many settings, like ISO and exposure compensation, which pulls your eye from the viewfinder. I much prefer what Fujifilm did with the X-T30, which also has a better looking, more practical design than the A6400 square black box look. Speaking of the viewfinder, the EVF is the same mediocre 2.36 million 0.7x magnification OLED model as the one on other cameras in the family. Luckily, the rear display is a big upgrade compared to the A6400's predecessors. It's now touch-enabled, letting you tap to focus, track a subject, and shoot. With no joystick, you can also use the screen to change the focus point with your eye to the EVF, much as you can with Canon's EOS R and other cameras. Unfortunately, you can't use the touchscreen to navigate the menus or quick settings. The display's best trick, however, is that it now tilts down to 90 degrees and flips up and over 180 degrees. That lets you see yourself for selfies or vlogging, but there are some serious caveats that I'll detail shortly. The A6400 has a microphone input but no headphone port. It also has micro HDMI and USB ports, but the latter is micro USB 2.0, not USB Type-C, which is what Fujifilm's X-T30 has an unfortunate choice in 2019. On top of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, it packs NFC to eliminate fiddling when you pair it with Android devices. There's just a single S1 SD card slot, and it's powered by a 6300's NPFW50 battery, which yields 410 shots when using the touch display, or 360 with the EVF. However, I found that the A6400 can take a lot more photos than that on a charge. It has a particularly long life when shooting video, too. Still, you'll need to carry a few extra batteries, at least they're lightweight. Sony's menu system generally gets a bad rap compared to Canon, Fujifilm, and even Nikon, and it's well deserved. It's frustrating to hunt through menu after a logically organized menu to access key settings. Luckily, Sony has made the buttons much easier to customize, so my advice would be to set up the camera exactly how you want before shooting anything with it. Lenses used to be a weak point for Sony, but that's no longer the case at all now. You can build a set of lenses that cover just about any shooting situation. The E-mount system supports glass from both Sony's APS-C and full-frame FE mount lens lineup. It has become a very deep system, with around 18 Sony APS-C, 27 Sony FE, and numerous third-party lenses from Zeiss, Sigma, and others. The A6400's body might be the same old, but the electronics and software are new and very much improved. It has the same 24.2 megapixel CMOS sensor that we liked on the last model, but it now packs the latest Beyond X processor. That boosts the native ISO range to 132,000, expandable to 102,800 for one thing. It also yields burst rates up to 11 FPS with the mechanical shutter and 8 FPS with the new, fully silent electronic shutter. What's more, you can fire off quite a few shots before the buffer fills, 99 for JPEGs and 46 for RAW files. Now let's talk about my vlogging issues. It might be unfair to single out this feature on the A6400 because it does so many other things well. But Sony actually encouraged this idea by publishing not just one but two videos touting the feature. The biggest problem is the lack of in-body stabilization. A lot of vlogging involves walking around while holding a camera, often while extending it by using a gorilla pod or monopod. To put it mildly, without stabilization, your viewers are going to get sick. The best you can do is get a stabilized lens zoom. But that's no match for an in-body system, and many of Sony's best primes aren't stabilized. Since Sony kept the imaging sensor from the A6300 and A6500, you'd expect the images to look roughly the same. However, Sony does seem to have improved image processing a bit. Noises better controlled, high ISO settings. For instance, JPEG photos look great right out of the camera, though noise reduction can be a bit strong. I'd recommend the low noise reduction setting to minimize that.